Hey everybody. Welcome to another episode. It's the first episode of 2017.
We're back in this bitch.
Year of our Lord 2017.
Crossing.
We're glad to have you all back this year. Glad to be delivering our dulcet tones to your ear holes.
Yes.
I hope you all had a good New Year's.
I hope nobody got caught drinking and driving.
Yeah, that's so good.
It's not good. It's not safe. It's not a good practice.
Well, I stayed home, so...
Yeah, I did too.
I didn't have to worry about that. But,
30-year-old elderly person.
Yeah, right.
Turn that goddamn TV down!
Yeah, I mean, well, yesterday, I got up in the morning and, the house was still kind of, in a partial state of disarray from New Year's and all that. And we had just been driving around everywhere. We didn't have time to clean, so I started cleaning as soon as I got up. And as you guys know from previous episodes, I rocked that men's nightgown.
Hashtag Porky Piggin.
Now, mind you, I put on a pair of pajama pants underneath them, and I had my house shoes on, because I had to go outside. I had to crush cans.
Yeah.
There was a shitload of cans from New Year's, like beer cans and pop cans, all that shit. So I had to crush them. I got a cinder block I used to crush them.
Oh, I thought you had one of those like plastic jobs. You were doing it like a fucking a caveman.
I'm doing it a la back in the day Brandon Soul style.
Yeah.
Let's shout out to Brandon Soul. That's how I learned about the cinder block crushing can method. I could crush 4 cans at once with the cinder block.
Come on.
But anyways, so I'm out there, and we've been living here for just over a month now, and we had only met the neighbors that lived behind us on the other side of the alley. Really, like the guys on the one side we met once, but it was in passing. We were like leaving the house, and we like waved at them. But so yesterday, I'm out here in my men's nightgown, and I'm my little like cove between the house and the garage. So I'm kind of like mostly obscured. That's why I allowed myself to go outside my men's nightgown to crush cans.
Yeah.
And
you're not just brave enough to do that outside where they can see you yet.
Exactly, yeah. And lo and behold, the only neighbor that I haven't met yet is the only person that could possibly see me crushing cans. And he just so happens to be out in his yard doing some work.
Of course.
And of course he calls to me.
Hello there.
Across the yards. He's like all the way across his yard. I'm all the way across mine. And I'm like, hey. And I think, okay, that's it. He's just gonna... he's going to say, hey, and that's it. No, he starts crossing his yard to talk to me.
But of course, I like to think that he was also Porky Piggin and he tried to slam naked butts together with you.
I mean, it would have been better if he was wearing a men's nightgown too, but unfortunately he was wearing regular clothes.
Oh, that's a weird interaction.
Yeah, so I had to, me, I can't I have to, let it all out while I'm there so he knows that I'm not some sort of weirdo. But I approach him because I didn't want to be rude. He's a neighbor. He's my new neighbor. And I'm probably going to be living next to him for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And
yes.
I approach him, and the first I say, hi, nice to meet you. And I said, sorry for my attire.
Check out my balls.
Yeah, I was like, sorry for my attire. I still have my night clothes on. Now, to anybody who would see me in my night clothes, they might still think there's something fucking weird going on. Because, I mean, to put it best, our buddy Sean saw my men's nightgown a couple days ago. I showed it to him. I didn't wear it. I just showed it to him. And he thought it was akin to Muslim garb that Muslim men wear. So it probably only made it worse that the fact that I was wearing pants with it, too.
Yeah.
And shoes. Because for all my neighbor knew, that was my daily attire. That and my beard's a little bit unruly right now.
It was like 3:30 in the afternoon. Like, sorry, bro, I'm wearing this all the time.
So he probably had thoughts that I was
terrorist.
New neighbors in the neighborhood. It could have made a movie out of it.
Allahu Akbar.
But
you ought to let him watch you walk around in your fucking nightgown with the AR-15.
But then later, I actually a half hour later, I made it a goal to let him see me in regular clothes because he was still outside working. So I put on my regular outfit, my t-shirt, my cardigan, my moccasins, and I went out there and waved at him again with my normal fair-haired son.
Hey,
let him know that I wasn't on some fuck shit.
We're capitalists here.
Yeah. Hi.
No Bernie stickers in this house.
Yeah, I got a busy day too. I'm going to take down my Christmas decorations.
Yeah. Exactly.
But so yeah, and then I actually got to meet the other neighbor yesterday too, because I hadn't really taken a good look at the yard yet, so I wanted to see, I wanted to assess how much work I had in for me when it warms back up again, and the report is bad. A lot of work.
I learned that once we bought a house too. It's like you can never say you have nothing to do.
Yeah, that's the truth. Like, and the worst part is, it's like, right now when it's cold out, I'd say easily 70% of the work that needs to be done is all outside, but I'm not doing a goddamn lick of it. I ain't touching nothing. Not until it warms up.
Yeah, well, you need the power of the sun. Power and protection.
You know, I was actually going to talk about that today. I was like, I wish I had a big, giant wooden privacy fence, because I need vitamin D bad in my life.
So bad that you're willing to get naked, but only if you had a 12-foot privacy fence.
Yeah, with no holes in it.
Well, you might leave holes for curious observers.
Maybe. I mean, it's that's kind of like buyer beware at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
if they look through the hole.
You see a fucking hole, you never put your eye up to it unless you expect one of two things: naked neighbor or a dick in the eye. I've learned that from enough glory hole videos in my life.
Exactly.
It's interesting you mentioned neighbor experiences. Yesterday, I was painting the baby's room. We cleaned everything out of there. Mm-hmm. We had a bunch of extra flooring and shit from where we put down the bamboo floor. Mm. So we moved all that out, and she wanted to repaint it. So I did the good husband thing, and we went and got paint, and I put the paint on the walls. As I was doing that, I left the window open because it was a stark 55 yesterday.
Yeah.
And I did what every new father should do as he paints. He listens to Hit 'Em Up by Tupac really loud.
Nice. And
I didn't notice, but once that song came on the playlist, I was like, yeah. And then I kind of, paused it because I realized, like, is this what a new father should do? Listen to Hit 'Em Up by Tupac? Arguably one of the craziest songs he made.
Yeah.
So I turned it down and I looked outside and I just noticed the very next door neighbors and their kids were staring in the window listening.
Nice.
So.
Well, this is the new age. You shouldn't decide, by media or society how a father should act. You know what I mean? Like, you have a moral compass.
Yeah.
So you know the basics. Like, okay, a father shouldn't act a fool and go partying every night or nothing like that.
Throwing 40-ounce bottles at random cars and what have you.
Exactly. If you got that going for you, everything else, like the music you listen to and all that, who fucking cares?
Yeah, I still have yet to get a check from them in the mail. My neighbors, I mean.
Yeah.
They're not helping me pay anything.
They don't pay for anything. If they start paying your bills and said, there's a stipulation, you can't listen to fucking Tupac no more.
I don't want you listening to that hip-hop music.
And I'll take their goddamn money.
Yeah, and I'll put headphones in.
It's like, I think as we talked about this before, to an extent, everybody has a price. It's like, imagine if, some big corporation came to Bones and Tubbs and said, we want to sponsor your show, but you can't cuss in your show no more. Ooh-wee.
Well, it might help me sharpen my mental knife.
Well, I would have to say, if they came to me with that stipulation, they'd have to pay me an exorbitant amount of money. First of all, not to cuss, because that's just in my nature at this point. It's too too late.
I understand. The struggle is real.
Yes, it is. But, nobody dictates your personal preferences. You know what I mean? It's like you get to decide, especially you're kind of I felt like the things I love and the things that I feel helped mold me in my childhood, I decided that systematically I'd introduce it to my son. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Star Wars. I waited until I knew he was old enough to begin to understand what the hell was going on in the movies to actually introduce him to said movies.
Right.
And because of that, I feel like he enjoys them more thoroughly.
That's good. That's better than him just kind of aimlessly staring at it while he shits himself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't want to throw that on him too early. Yes, and sometimes I'll pique his interest in something, knowing that eventually I'm going to show it to him. Like yesterday, during his nap, I was watching Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, and that's the one with Sean Connery.
But of course.
Julia!
Yeah.
But,
sometimes they just need a good rapping.
Yes, she talks in her sleep.
I like to watch that interview every now and then where Barbara Walters tries to him up on spousal abuse, and he just looks at her and kind of smiles. He's like, sometimes I need to be knocked down a peg or two. They just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and then you have to take the back of your hand to them. Like, God damn.
Shut up, woman.
Yeah. But Barbara Walters probably got sweaty palms when she asked that question. Because she realized that not only is he about that life, but he makes enough money to slap Barbara Walters and probably get away with it.
Can you imagine that? Pow! He's sitting in a chair like this, and then he just leans up and you just hear.
They're all whole.
But yeah, so I was watching that, and he woke up from his nap, and I had it on still, and I intentionally had it on so he could see like the action sequence that was coming up, just so he'd be like, "What's this?" And it's the scene where like it's like there's like a tank chase, like he's riding a horse and trying to get to his dad who's inside of a tank and all that. He's like, he looks at the screen, he's like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Indiana Jones."
Feast your eyes, tiny human.
And then I paused it, and I was like, "We'll watch this when you're older."
To be continued.
But yeah, so I mean, to each their own. Like, if you don't want your kid, liking the stuff that you liked when you were a kid, that's you. But to me, I like introducing him to those things. If he doesn't like them, he doesn't like them.
I figured the best bet for our son in the future would be to nerf the world, only let him drink breast milk until he's 14, and make him watch Caillou every day.
Oh my god.
Till the age of 14.
I tell you, I let my son watch a lot of shows that even I am kind of like, eh. Some of them I appreciate. I mean, I can't watch them because they're meant for kids. Like, would you want to watch a show that was designed specifically for dogs? Like, all it would be like mailmen and squirrels.
Yeah.
And other dogs barking at the TV.
I feel like you have to persevere through it, though, because the second that we get up and leave the room or change to some other activity, that's when the cartoon characters, they've scientifically figured out how much an adult can stand. And as soon as you leave the room, they're like, "Let's learn about Satan."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I put on Umi Zumi for my son this morning. I bet you as soon as I walked out of the room, they started talking about Karl Marx and shit.
Yeah. Like, Karl Marx, blood sacrifices to hermaphrodite deities.
Don't tell your parents, though.
Yeah. Because you'll get in trouble.
Yeah. Karl Marx will wake up from his grave and kill you in your sleep.
Yes. Rub his beard on your naked belly.
But yeah. So... But anyways, you mentioned Caillou. I just have to say now, that is probably the worst kid show that I can't watch, and I don't even like my kid watching, because that little fucker, he's a brat.
He's a shithead. Yeah. I only know about Caillou from a YouTube video I watched where they were talking about how it's programming kids to be assholes.
Caillou is an asshole.
Basically, doesn't he have like a tantrum, and then he gets his way, and that like teaches the kids, like, it's okay to be a shithead.
It's kind of hard. Like, here's the thing. I think it's less Caillou that aggravates me. It's his parents that aggravate me.
Because, are they enablers?
To an extent, but they're too soft. They never yell at him or nothing.
That's
not reality. Like,
no.
I mean, the show I think comes from Canada, so.
Yeah, well, here we are.
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau.
Yeah. So I mean, they do like lightweight discipline him, but it's always like they never like yell at him.
Right.
And sometimes, unfortunately, you have to yell at your children. There's no way around that. We're not Eskimos, okay? I mean, Eskimo parenting, but it's its own brand. Like, Eskimo parenting, yeah, you don't yell at your kid ever, but you let them fuck themselves up.
Yeah.
Like, the perfect the example I heard is that, Eskimos, they don't believe in yelling at their children or anything like that. But they'll tell, like, while someone was interviewing an Eskimo mother one time, they're, like, sitting in, like, I don't know, like, I guess their living room, and there's, like, a fire going in the fireplace and all that. And the interviewer's talking to the mother, and the baby keeps going towards the fire. And the mother's like, tells the baby, no, twice. And pulls the baby away.
Third time's on you, bro.
Baby walks up, burns the shit out of itself.
Yeah, bet you won't do that again, stupid. Yeah. Stay next to our ice wall and eat blubber, you shithead.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's their own brand.
Right.
They're gonna go ahead and let you, cripple yourself if it means learning a lesson. Which, like, sometimes, unfortunately, that is true. Kids have to get hurt sometimes to realize something's bad.
Some of the best lessons are learned by horrible, disfiguring scars to their face and neck.
Exactly. Not running in the house. My son's trying to learn that lesson right now. He's boffed it like 6 or 7 times already,
How many times do they need to learn that lesson?
I think, like I said, we keep telling him, he likes to just run through the house. He could be in another room, we'll call for him, Jim, come here. And he'll, boo, 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 boo. And like I said, he's boffed it like fucking at least 12 times.
Yeah.
But the problem is that every time he's boffed it, it's always been safe landing. He might get the wind knocked out, I'm like, oof. Like that, but that's about it. He needs to, like, straight up hit some furniture before he gets the, hey, running in the house is dumb.
If he still does it when he's like 10, are you going to throw down caltrops? Like the little spiky triangles?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You're going to learn today.
Told you not to run, man. I mean, those are decorative caltrops, man.
Yeah. They've been thrown down in your path every time you do something stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a bear trap thrown in there for good measure.
Yeah.
But yeah. But no, I mean, I wouldn't advise, like, screaming at your kids for endless amounts of time. Like, I mean, that's even advisable in our profession that we work in.
That we won't name. That we can't name.
I mean, like, there's no point. Like, some dudes, I get it. Some of our dudes that work there, they'll scream till their fucking faces are red and there's veins in their head.
Yeah.
There's no need for that.
No.
Because, like, the people that we're doing that to are petulant children a lot of the times. And sometimes petulant children get a kick out of watching their authority figures getting really pissed. And that's the thing. They want you to get pissed.
It's a funny game to them.
Yeah, they think it's funny to watch you get angry. But yeah, so, you got to find that good middle ground. Let's see. I wanted to touch on, I saw something funny that I wanted to talk about. I saw this yesterday that CNN used a screenshot from Fallout 4 to show how Russians hack things.
Yeah, that's a good screenshot, too, because they still got 2 attempts left.
Exactly. It's just, in a way, I laugh because, like, well, I'm a big Fallout fan, so I see that and I laugh because, I mean, looking from this, I'm guessing, let's see, I would have to say they're going to get the answer. It has to be fencing. I'd say fencing. Fencing is the answer. More or less. It might be, it might not be, but I think it is.
Well, you could figure it out. You got 2 attempts left.
I got 2 attempts left. Or I could just back out and come back in, and then I got 5 attempts left again. Or 4 attempts.
I used to think, like, are the people that make these stories that stupid, or are they signaling to us how retarded the narrative is?
Yeah.
I think they're actually that dumb.
Well, by the way, fake news alert.
Yeah.
Everybody, all the major media outlets picked up this story about how some utility company in Vermont had been hacked by the Russians. Mm-hmm. Well, come to find out, nobody was hacked. It was on one computer.
It was horseshit.
And it was because a guy had looked up his personal Yahoo account and had gotten hacked by somebody that's been hacking people for a long time that had nothing to do with the Russian government.
That's weird. I got an email from my grandma.
But she
doesn't send email. She sends an attachment. Let's open the attachment.
But, I mean, yeah, and that goes back to what we talked about a couple episodes ago with this whole fake news thing. Like, what's really the fake news? You know what I mean? Like, all the media outlets picked that up. They're like... And they gave it the most like the most insidious headlines imaginable. Like, are the Russians hacking our infrastructure? Are the Russians hacking our power supply? And da-da-da-da. All that shit. Like, really? This is where you want to take this?
Right. Slow news cycle, bro?
Yeah. I mean, well, it is... I'll be the first one to admit. After the election, I feel like we have hit, like... a crossroads. Like, basically, like, you have... I mean, there are things going on. There was that terrorist attack in Istanbul that Jill Stein blamed on global warming.
Ignorant bitch.
I mean, what the fuck? I mean...
That's taken the crown as the stupidest story I've heard. The other one before that was when they blamed earthquakes on global warming.
Yeah, that too.
But it all leads back to solar cycles,
yeah,
which cause earthquakes and cause global cooling and warming.
Which... We're talking about an object probably, 1,000 times larger than our own?
Yeah.
That's in our solar system?
Millions, yeah. Gigantic.
That pumps out so much radiation, heat, and magnetic fields.
If it so much as had a wet fart, we would be non-existent.
Yeah, imagine if the sun...
Nothing you can do to stop it.
God, only imagine if the sun got diarrhea.
Yeah. Thank God viruses don't travel to the sun.
Or do they?
Oh
shit.
Boom.
We're talking about... I remember, I want to say it was Ray Bradbury maybe, or it was one of the great science fiction writers had a short story about how these explorers, they were going to Mercury, and they found out that, it might have been Kurt Vonnegut actually, found out that the sun, like, they were near, I don't know if it was Mercury or another planet, but they basically found out that the sun was sentient.
Oh, yeah.
That it, like, I mean, in a way, like, the writer made a point. He's like, these things are massive. He's like, how can we say they're not sentient?
Yeah.
Like, they're fucking, I mean, there's something so much greater than us. How could they, the theory being that it's something so great that it's impossible for it not to have a higher intelligence inside of it.
Who really knows what's going on?
Exactly.
I tell you, the person to ask, I read a story last year, maybe? Yeah, definitely last year, because we're in 2017 now.
Yeah.
North Korea sent an astronaut to the sun,
yeah,
and he's the only person to ever go to the sun. And I was like, how the fuck did he do that? It's a giant ball of fire.
Yeah.
And it's gaseous. Mm-hmm. Well, he went at night.
Oh.
So he was able to land on the sun because it was nighttime.
So is this some weird theory where the sun becomes the moon?
I don't know. North Korea is ahead of the game, though.
Oh, way ahead of the curve.
Before we jump too far away from fake-ass news stories about hacking. Anybody out there should go ahead and Google fake cell phone towers and read that shit, because they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's in the Scientific American and Newsweek, so it's not on, like, blacklistnews.com.
Yeah, exactly. We're not telling you go some of these supposed fake news sites to look that shit up. It's right here in black and white, and I'm looking at the Newsweek article linked to it, and it's linked to the NSA. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's not the Russians. It's our own government using Stingray to absorb every bit of information from every phone that travels through there to spy on your every movement and web search. That's fine, though. I mean, we allow it to happen.
Do you think, like ultimately, like they're collecting all this information that something it would become something so massive that it would be impossible for it not to be sentient?
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Like, you would literally create the sentient embodiment of America. A giant, manic, fucking hypersensitive, tough boy, fucking macho man.
Riding a jazzy.
While claiming he's a vegetarian, but also eating a giant deer steak with a crossbow and a fucking machine gun and a peace sign and all that shit together. He's also very, very racist, but also not racist at the same time.
He's so racist that he projects it on you.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's almost like American Gods. Like,
oh, yeah.
We create that God.
We pray at its altar every time we check that notification.
Like, he's the American God.
Yeah.
And he's a basket case.
Shit's heavy.
You know, it's not like fucking, like, you imagine, like, other countries having their physical embodiment of their country. Like, I imagine they're a little bit more settled. Like, imagine Denmark's. I bet you it's happy.
Happy.
It's a happy fellow.
Chill.
Wearing his overalls, and he might go fishing.
He probably doesn't hang out with America.
No. I don't think anybody really. If there was a human embodiment of America, who would really hang out with him?
Not me.
Well, no, here's the thing, though. America, the one thing that this crazy embodiment has is a shitload of money. Yeah. So it's that super rich person, you know, that you hang out with every once in a while that's a douchebag, but you hang out with him anyways because he's going to buy everything for you.
He gives you free drinks and military contracts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He just gives his shit away to you. But yeah, I imagine other ones, but there's other ones I think that are probably about just as fucking crazy as us.
Yeah.
I don't think Russia would be that crazy. I think they'd be...
I think they have a dark secret side.
Yeah.
But publicly they're cool.
Yeah, publicly they're cool, but in reality they're probably some sort of thief in their actual profession.
Saudi Arabia is shoving gays off roofs and chopping off hands, and in the back, like, in their secret life, all they do is just a giant bukkake because they're secretly so gay that they have to project their hatred of gays on others, just like their dad did to them.
Jesus Christ. I mean, like I said, like, maybe we project these are what's becoming what we are. It's God's, but it's our God. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We created it. Which someone believes, like, by theory, that makes, it's a follicular thing that I don't really want to get into about God, where we created God, so that makes us its God, but whatever.
Heavy.
I don't want to talk about that. There's people who listen to the show that are devout individuals, and I just blaspheme like a motherfucker.
We're just talking.
Yeah. I'm just trying to glean. I'm trying to glean existence itself.
Talking a little treason.
That's what happens on this show.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's why you come back.
But, I want to move on to a topic. It wasn't given to us on Facebook. It was given to me in person over the holidays.
At night by a man in dark attire. He just handed you an envelope.
Yeah, and then he disappeared.
Yeah, wax seal on it.
It kind of goes hand in hand with our talk about sentient sons and sentient the American God and all that stuff. And that's pan-dimensional cryptozoology.
Yes.
And to those of you out there, you might know what cryptozoology means. It means the study of animals that are believed to exist but have never been found officially, i.e. Sasquatch, Yetis, abominable snowmen, and Jersey Devils, and chupacabras, and
all that wonderful
Greys, aliens. It goes into that too.
Yeah.
But then pan-dimensional. That means that they're able to cross dimensions from ours to others, or their home dimensions, and come back. And the reason I wanted to talk about this was because it has created a failsafe for anybody ever saying, like, say you say, I believe in Sasquatch, and then another person who doesn't believe in Sasquatch would say, why haven't they ever found a body? Well, we're here to give you that retort today. This whole idea goes that being like Sasquatch is pan-dimensional. He doesn't exist technically in our dimension, but he crosses over sometimes.
When he's bored.
Yeah, basically. I mean, like, there was a good movie a couple years ago that came out. I mean, it wasn't super... It was all right. The ending was good. It was called Willow Creek, and that kind of ran that theory where... But it wasn't about being able to cross dimensions. He was mystical. Like, he had magical powers. Mm-hmm. And that's why he was able to, like, cross out of our existence into another. But I think it's a good theory. I think it goes hand in hand with the idea that these creatures necessarily aren't seen by us all the time because they don't exist in our dimension.
Yeah.
Exist at least like all the time. It's not like us. We can't leave this dimension. We're stuck here, at least for now. But they're able to. They could cross in and out.
I have a new understanding on this theory after I watched Westworld.
Oh, yeah?
I'm at episode 6, I think.
Ooh.
So what if this whole pan-dimensional thing is because we live in a Westworld scenario and these people play the game? I just lost the game.
Oh, fuck.
Damn it. But they come into the game and they're like, I want to play it as Chupacabra this time and go fuck up a Mexican goat farm.
Oh, fuck.
Or like Bigfoot. Or a gray. I mean, that's what better example of like prepubescent angst would it be for a group of teenagers take over, a gray's existence, come into our world, and then just fuck humans in the ass with things.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah. I think it's funny.
And mutilate cattle, whatever.
Yeah. You see that cow down there? They just like hit a button and it fucking just rips the side out of it.
Massive laser knife that we can't even conceive of just shoots into its butthole and cuts it into, 70 tooths.
Things beyond our comprehension.
Right?
But
how pissed would you be if this was Westworld?
Oh my god. And this was just like a giant amusement park.
Yeah.
And all the pain and suffering that people have gone through was just like, it was all programmed.
Yeah.
Like, it was all like, I mean, if you've seen that far in Westworld, like, the hosts follow, like, a certain, like, dialogue chain.
Yeah, the loops.
Yeah, and it doesn't, like, it does, like, when they're talking to somebody, it's like a program that dictates what they're going to say next, based on what someone has said to them. And the thing is, like, they show this to one of the characters who's become aware of her situation. They're like, look, see, we can see what you're about to say.
Yeah.
And as soon as she sees that shit,
goes into fucking meltdown.
Yeah, she tries to, it starts trying to be random because she's trying not to say what she was supposed to say next, and she fucking shuts down because of it. Like, that shows next level when it's trying to dissect what we're about to get ourselves into in the near future with robotics and whatnot. Like,
very Gnostic. I like the demiurge Anthony Hopkins,
dude. And oh my god, I see it. Ooh, just wait. You're going to find out more about Anthony Hopkins, and you're going to be like, what the fuck?
I learned a little bit, I'm not going to, spoil it, spoiler alert activity level, but I learned something about, I don't even remember his name, the African-American gentleman.
With the glasses?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was neat.
You found out what he was, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did you find out why he was like that?
Nope.
Okay.
We'll leave
you don't know that part yet.
Nope.
You don't know that there's a reason for him being a host.
You spoiled it. I said it wasn't spoiler alert. That's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, everybody.
I'm not sorry.
Well,
sorry,
sorry. We didn't say his name, so
yeah.
You can assume.
Do what you want.
There's more than one African American on that show.
Yes.
#diversity.
#diversity.
But yeah, I mean, go check out Westworld. Go check out Man in the High Castle while you're at it.
Is that on? What is that?
That's on Amazon Prime.
Oh.
Now, I only have Amazon Prime because I have it for free right now, but I marathon that shit. And, I mean, it's based off of a book by probably one of my favorite science fiction writers, Philip K. Dick. Now, if you haven't heard of that name before, you've probably heard of a lot of the movies that his shit's based on.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote he wrote the book that would become Blade Runner.
Yeah.
He wrote the book that would become the short story that became Total Recall. He wrote Minority Report. Like, this dude wrote some of the best science fiction that we've seen in our lifetime was written by this dude.
Yeah.
And he wrote Man in the High Castle. Now, if you don't know what Man in the High Castle is about, I'll give you a brief synopsis before we continue with the show. It takes place in a world where it's an alternate universe where the Axis won World War II. Mm-hmm. And most of the action takes place in the United States, where a large portion of the United States is called the Greater German Reich, and then there's a thin strip of land in in the Rockies and stuff called the Neutral Zone, and then on the other side is the Pacific States of America.
Yeah.
And it's just basically like you see a lot of, I mean, it's about like people in like the resistance and people who are spies and all sorts of shit like that. And then it kind of dives into like the daily lives of these people to see like how each side lives, how they exist with each other, and
comparisons.
And it's good. It's a really good show. The first season kind of drags a little bit, but once you get to season 2, it primes up big time.
Have to check it out.
But yeah,
back to the cryptozoology thing to take us out of the whole Westworld scenario. I did read a theory where there were common portals where these entities can come in and out of. Mm-hmm. #David Rockefeller, maybe not David Rockefeller, whatever the Rockefeller was that created the national parks. You've got these giant swaths of land all throughout the United States where these strange disappearances happen.
Yeah.
And, some of those areas are cordoned off. Might be a whole host of things in there we don't know anything about. I mean, there are still humans on the planet that we don't know about, like the Amazon tribes that have never had human contact.
Exactly. Well, yeah, they just discovered one, like, not 2 weeks ago.
You get caught in there, it's death by snoo-snoo.
Yeah.
It's all bad.
Like, a helicopter just so happened to fly by, and they saw a small village that wasn't on anybody's maps, and they flew in a little close just to take a look, and these people had, as far as we know, had never made contact with the modern world, and they're just all staring up at this fucking helicopter like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then they started shooting arrows at it, as one would.
As you should.
Yeah.
Especially if they find some sort of resource in there that people want, because then they're about to get their first lesson in freedom.
Yeah, right.
Maybe some democracy, too. Maybe both.
You know that livelihood you had cutting down trees and making firewood and shit?
Yeah.
That's over with.
Yeah, hunter-gatherer life's not for you. We're going to make you a Christian democracy that kneels at the altar of globalism.
That's how we do.
Yes.
It's like I think you could almost compare it to like, that's what it is to us. We're like this isolated tribe that things come to observe and witness us because we're interesting. Because we're what probably they were before.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like, as far as we've come, we haven't gone as far as they have. But another thing I want to touch on, which we've touched on a previous episode, because it's come up again, is the Mandela effect.
Oh, yeah.
It's cropped back up into some stories, because apparently there's a huge swath of the population that are firm set and believe that there was a movie starring Sinbad, that jovial, happy man.
Yeah.
With the thin mustache from the 90s.
Excellent.
Yeah. That he made a movie called Shazam, where he was a genie.
I remember that movie.
No, see, that's the thing. I don't. I remember a movie starring Shaq called Kazam.
Yeah, I remember both. It's weird. It's like they both exist in my mind.
See, I just don't remember a movie. I think, like, I want to say, I don't remember a movie starring him. I remember him wearing a lot of clothes that made me think he was a genie. Mm-hmm. You know, he did rock those fucking big poofy pants, and he always wore tracksuits, which were multicolored. That made me think of him.
Right.
But
granter of wishes.
Exactly. But I just wanted to touch on that because I saw it come popping up again. Because you have the Bernstein or Bears thing.
Mandela himself,
what the effect is named after.
Yeah.
And everybody trying to speculate why this is happening. Now, your common skeptic,
Garden Variety
common skeptic would say that it's, memory is vague after a time. So what happens is like you might forget something or other memories meld with other things, and you come to the conclusion that someone says, don't you remember this person being in this, or this being spelled a certain way, or this happening or that happening? And
create the memory, sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of like gaslighting, except unintentional gaslighting. Yeah. And then everybody decides that, yeah, I do remember that. It's like some weird, like, fucking herd mentality shit, right? That's what a skeptic would believe. Mm-hmm. But there's some out there who have questioned this and said, what if it's not just some sort of fucking herd mentality, false memory? What if it's us, our world leaking into another, or another world leaking into ours?
Just kind of muddying the waters of reality.
Exactly. Kind of like Stephen King's Dark Tower, where the worlds tend to meld together when they move on.
Right. I definitely think we've moved on. How far did you make it in that, while we're on that subject?
What's that?
The Dark Tower.
Wolves of Kala.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm planning on finishing it, but...
I remember, what's weird, I don't know if it's that me creating memories thing, but I do remember seeing at least what I think was a poster of Sinbad in that movie at, I don't remember the name of the store. It was in West Elkton. It's now a pizza place. It used to be a video rental. Yeah. And we would go in there, I would rent Sega Genesis games. Nice. And the game Genie, of course. Back to the synchronicity of genies, but I remember seeing a poster in there of that movie. Kind of like I have a memory of looking at a Berenstain Bears book at a young age in my bedroom and thinking, that's a weird way to spell Berenstain. Yeah. And then later in life reflecting on the fact that they were Nazi collaborators that escaped the Nuremberg trials and ended up in the woods pretending to be humble farmers. but here we are.
Exactly. Who's to say? I think if I'm going to believe a conspiracy theory about this, I'm believing that I blame it on the CERN collider.
Oh, yeah.
I think them turning that fucker on, especially like here lately where they're trying to like fucking tickle atoms into like being able to reveal antimatter.
I don't think that whatever they're saying is true, though. They spin us this nice, cute story about throwing atoms into each other and all this shit. And then you catch videos of them doing, like, pagan dance rituals and building, the goddess Shiva, the goddess of creation and destruction.
Doing ritualistic fake sacrifices to him and shit. Like, that's not even false, everybody. I saw that video, like, back in August. Like, It was at the facility that the CERN Collider's at, and I assume these people were doing it under the assumption no one else was there. Mm-hmm. But someone filmed it in secret, and because the whole time you just hear them, you don't hear the people doing the ritual, you just hear the guy inside the office building like, oh, fuck, what the fuck is this shit? Oh, fucking God. I mean, if I caught that, I would flip the fuck out too. I mean, imagine if I'm at work and... To all you people who work at our work who listen to this, imagine if you're like in there late one night and you have to go do a check somewhere and you just see like 10 people in hooded robes and they just like got some...
No.
Oh, fuck, get the fuck out.
I did see there was another story. One of these scientists belongs to the Ordo Templi Orientis, the OTO. It's a secret society called the Thelemic Order. Thelema was a religion created by Aleister Crowley. So basically this guy, the head Satanist that we've all come to know and love.
Old Aleister Crowley.
You guys should watch some documentaries on him. They're on YouTube and they're free.
Yeah.
But anyway, he created, he was so deep down the rabbit hole of Satanism and personal godhood that he created several of his own secret societies and his own religions based on Set, the Egyptian god. But anyway, one of these scientists is a modern-day admitted member of the OTO, and he was writing some public memorandum for the OTO where he talks about bringing in personal godhood, post-humanism, and whatever that is, where we merge with technology.
Oh, Jesus!
So I'm sure that all this has nothing to do. They're doing science there. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, just science.
It's just science.
It's just science.
It's fucking science.
It's just science, everybody. So don't freak out.
Yeah.
We know that your memories are getting fucking twisted.
Finger banged.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, big time. They're not just tickling. They're not just tickling atoms, everybody. They're tickling our very souls with this shit, apparently.
Yeah.
I remember the first time the Mandela effect was brought to me, and it fucked me up. Like, the Mandela thing, that's not something I knew about because, he wasn't before my time or nothing, but
before
I had never known a time when I had never known someone talk about him being dead. I knew him always as being alive at the time.
Yeah.
But the Berenstein, the first thing that struck me was the Berenstein Bears thing, because when it was approached to me, hey, how do you spell Berenstein? I spelled it out for them, and they're like, no, look it up.
We talked about this on one of the Lost episodes, didn't we?
I think so, yeah. He's like, look that shit up. So I look it up, and my life is fucked now.
The thing that really roped me into it was the fact, like, you watch different things about it, and some of it's here or there. Like, you may or may not remember Mandela, you may or may not remember Berenstein, or Sinbad for that matter, but, like, you look at historical documents, things that you think they shouldn't be able to change, because once something's written down, it's written down.
Yeah.
But they have, like, this whole loop of the Mandela effect where they delve into, like, old school Old Testament Bibles. Old school Bibles, the Old Testament, King James Version. And they say, like, I don't remember any of the passages, but you can Google it, look it up, where they use, like, terminology that's way past the time that should have been written. So you have updated versions today where they change things to make sense in our current, like, language. Mm-hmm. But the things in there, like, they were talking about, pitchers, I think was the word that was in the old Bible, when at that time they were talking about water skins. And there are these old preachers that are like, I've always remembered this passage stating water skins, or wine skins, where they say you can't put new wine in an old wineskin. Yeah. But yet the Bible now, if you look at it, no matter how old the Bible is, it goes to pitcher. Something that doesn't make sense. Just different word changes. Small things that don't make any sense historically that people have a memory of.
Then there's that old chestnut about Jesus possibly being someone from the future that was sent back to change history. Because for whatever reason or another, the history that was going to happen was too bad or gnarly to fathom.
Let's just imagine for a second that, Sodom and Gomorrah was the way of the world still, and we worship golden calves. I don't want to know. Look how far we've come.
Exactly. Think about it. Like, we'd still be like fucking offering up plates of food to fucking Juno and shit.
And it better be prime food.
Yeah.
You can't have those lesser doves. You have to buy our doves.
Exactly.
Money changers.
If I have a bad year, I have no choice but to kill my dog.
Yeah. It makes the most sense.
But yeah, well, maybe it was all for the better, maybe not. Hard saying. For all we know, you could kind of equate that to, because if it wasn't for, this is one time I'm going to give props to the Catholic Church. If it wasn't for the Catholic Church, Europe would have descended into a state of anarchy way longer than it would have.
Yeah.
Like, it was the binding nature of the Catholic Church that raised Europe out of the Dark Ages And once, we were back on track, culture took back over again. Like, that's the one time I'm going to give them a little bit of props. They kind of saved us.
Yeah.
Because we had a common link. But yeah.
Just to go back and blow air on the nipple of cryptozoology and different dimensions, what do you think about people who... It also kind of lines up with Aleister Crowley and the whole secret society thing, where he wrote a book called The Book of the Law that he wrote in a day, or less than a day, and it's a giant book. And when asked about it, he said, I didn't write the book. I channeled the book from one of these godheads that he created a religion around. There's a new one today called Clock Shavings, and it's written by Tracy Twyman. Giant mass, 600-page book, small font. And she channeled this from some sort of deity, I guess. What do you make of all this channeling nonsense? Because these things end up being, they're not like where if I was to write a book in a day, it would probably be filled with a lot of nonsense and dick jokes.
Yeah.
But these are like instructionary, like in this book, Tracy Twyman talks about this deity being like, hey, I got an idea on how you can start a blood cult. And all this shit. Like,
makes me think of Mormons.
Yeah. Scientologists. What are these? Yeah. I don't know. There's so much crazy shit.
Well, Scientology is a cover for pedestry. That's all there is to it.
Pedestry. Godlessness.
It was a means to be able to get away with the nasty shit they wanted to do. That's all there is to that one. I feel like the mystery has gone out of that one. Yeah. There's a fake religion created so that a fucking creepy, nasty writer could fuck children and boys on his boat.
He wrote a lot of books, too.
Yeah, he did write a lot of books. A lot of shitty science fiction.
Maybe the common theme here is maybe we should just kill authors. You think?
Don't say that. Some of them actually revealed good truth to us. I mean, the ones that weren't trying to fuck up society, who were just... I like the ones that were more mere observers. So you look at, like, Kurt Vonnegut and stuff like that were able to just, like, dissect the stupider parts of humanity.
Yeah.
And laugh at it. Not, like, laugh with it, not at it. That's the difference. And realize that he's just as stupid as the rest of it.
To play Bradbury's advocate, though, I mean, these books they're fake. They present crazy ideas by people who don't exist. Mm-hmm. Basically, if you read them, it'll just hurt your head.
Yeah, so don't read.
You shouldn't read.
Things you know. Things you should know. Yeah. That rainbow, just imagine that rainbow with the shooting star coming across your head.
Shooting across your mental eye.
It's the more you know. See, now I'm creating my own Mandela effect when when I say stupid shit like that.
It's fine. Somebody out there remembers it both ways.
Yeah. And they just got a nosebleed.
Psychic nosebleed.
But yeah, so you should check that out. And cryptozoology, I mean, though we prefer the modus operandi of putting it on Facebook or whatever, sending it on Facebook, was brought to you by Katie Doherty.
Once again, gold star.
A gold star for the day. She's going to be our first, like I feel like eventually we're going to get to the point where we start rating our people who send us topics.
Yeah.
And she's like, as soon as we figure out that rating system, she's definitely going to be top tier. All the way.
Definitely. I still say that, once we grow to a certain level, we should create shirts for people that,
oh,
different
definitely.
meanings. It says, one in my mind that I could see her sporting is like, I liked Bones and Tubs before it was cool.
Yeah.
# Bones and Tubs hipster.
Yeah. Bones and Tubs original.
Yeah.
She's an OG Bones and Tubs listener.
OG, boom.
But yeah.
We're about 3 minutes away from our time warp, it appears.
Hopefully nothing happens like what happened last week between each episode.
Oh, they're trying really hard for World War III. That's a possibility. It just never leaves that back burner. It's always on medium heat. It's just waiting to go.
I wonder where I'm going to have to look this up when we get back next time. I'll type it into Google so I remember it. But I wonder where, how scientists keep that nuclear clock?
Yeah.
I wonder where that's at right now.
I don't know.
We'll tell you. You'll feel like a minute to you, but we're going to tell you when we get back tomorrow.
Sean Doherty sent me a message the other day that is a topic for tomorrow's show also.
Oh, God. I just looked it up.
What is it? Let's do it today. Let's do it now.
The Doomsday Clock, apparently, this is just new. This is, no, that's from last year. Yeah, okay. Well, last year, it moved in January to 3 minutes to midnight. Yeah. And apparently it stayed 3 minutes to midnight all through this year.
And midnight is where we go back to the Stone Age, right?
Yeah, midnight's when it's all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when mutually assured destruction finally gets foreseen.
To throw a monkey wrench in this and other things that you might have all come to know and love, Sean Doherty sent me a message. It was a topic about how nuclear bombs don't exist.
What?
Yeah, YouTube it. That's your homework for today.
Okay. I'll look that up.
You start looking at this old footage, and I had watched a video with him a long time ago of these army soldiers that were out in like Nevada or some desert, and they've got this shitty old camera with them that films like you can see as the screen, the scenes change.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what the fucking term is. You can tell it's a shitty old camera.
Yeah.
And they're out there shooting this like field documentary. They don't know why they're out there. Okay. So they go out and they run out in their little uniforms and their hats. They pull out their spades and they fucking dig foxholes. And then it shows them sitting in the foxholes out in the middle of the desert and they're playing cards. And then they get a call on this gigantic radio. And they all fucking hop in the foxhole. And in the distance, the camera records a nuclear explosion. Right, what we believe is the nuclear explosion, the mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
And the camera, first of all, this is what tickled my pickle, was that the camera's not destroyed. The science we're taught with nuclear explosions, even the primitive ones that we started out with, was the very first thing that happens when you're within any amount of distance, especially if you could see the whole mushroom cloud that's like right down the fucking street from you, is it's going to destroy anything electronic, especially some shitty 1950s camera. The camera's not destroyed. As soon as that first blast, which you'd think would kill you from the heat, blows over the foxhole and doesn't destroy the humans inside it or the camera, they get out of the foxhole and run into the cloud.
Bad idea.
Just to see what would happen.
By layman's terms, we all know that's a bad idea.
Yeah. So if it did happen, the United States Army sent a bunch of men to a grueling death.
Yeah.
But all the things we're taught about nuclear explosions are proven false in that video.
Yeah. So
you should know.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
That's going to be some research I have to do between now and after our time warp.
Basically, it goes down to my personal motto that most of you know and love. None of this is real.
Yeah.
Here we are. So we're gonna do our time warp. And we're back.
Hey, everybody. That felt like a minute to you, but it was much longer for us. Luckily, nothing tragic happened in the news cycle.
No, I did come back slightly grayer and more used than before.
Yeah.
But
my genes aren't replicating as fast as they were yesterday, but
most certainly not.
You'll have that. But I believe we were talking about the actual existence of nuclear weapons. Now, I said I'd do the legwork on that, and I did. And I'm going to go on the side of... I think they're real just because, somebody raised a good point on this. And this kind of, broadens into all conspiracy theories. You gotta ask yourself is, one, how many people are involved in the supposed nuclear weapons aren't real category?
Yeah.
For it to be fake, you would have had multiple nations, multiple world leaders, all at least knowing that they don't actually have weapons, but they could use them, but they had to fake to use them against somebody else. So every, conflict we thought of that had the possibility of nuclear weapons, think about, the Cuban Missile Crisis. You had Kennedy and Khrushchev fucking at each other's fucking throats, ready to rip each other's dicks off.
Yeah.
And everybody thought we were on the brink of fucking nuclear war. And to think that would all be just
bullshit theater,
just smoke and mirrors completely on both sides. But the funny part is if you take it from the angle of what if a world leader knew they didn't actually have capable nuclear weapons, but they postured like they did, but they thought some other country actually did have them.
Yeah.
Say the U.S.
Yeah.
Then you're playing this giant game of, trying to bluff the other person out. Oh, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
I'll do it, Dutch. I think that one problem that we have is, looking back at the old footage of just about everything. And this could be true with the moon landing, too. I think every bit of footage that they've given us to look at is fake.
Or at least doctored.
Right. Why would you publish your actual footage of how things work or how things are launched or how things explode?
Yeah.
That's like the one video that Sean sent originally. It showed a treescape. I don't know if you found that one or not.
Yeah.
But it's average looking forest, not too much foliage. And then kind of pans back, there's an explosion, and then it goes forward into a fucking train set where all the trees are perfectly lined up and it just shows the trees being eviscerated.
Now, I would go on to believe that possibly they're not as powerful as we've been led to believe.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. But, we know, at least to an extent, something happens, at least in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I was reading one of the theory was, amongst the conspiracy theories that they're not real, was that Nagasaki and Hiroshima were firebombed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, firebombing, as some of you probably already know, requires thousands of planes. Think about the firebomb. They firebombed Tokyo days before they dropped bombs, right?
Right.
And that required some 10,000 planes. And we're not talking little planes. We're talking fucking B-52s. We're talking, super fortresses, all sorts of shit. Fucking just dropping. We're talking hundreds of thousands of tons of bombs.
Yeah.
Now, most eyewitness accounts, to believe that this is fake, you would have to have at least one person, a survivor from Nagasaki or or Hiroshima say they saw many planes in the sky. When in reality, most of them say they saw one plane and assumed it was a spy plane.
He was carrying Big Boy.
Because it was one plane, they're like, oh, fuck, it's one plane. What the fuck is it going to do?
Yeah.
It can't do shit.
It's over with.
And then flash, and then you're all fucking gone. I mean, like I said, some of it's probably doctored. Like I said, if any of it is true, it's the aspect that they may not be as powerful as we've been led to believe. But we know for a fact that we've dabbled in hard nuclear science because we've seen the devastation from Fukushima and Chernobyl.
Yeah.
And saw what that can do to the environment.
Did you hear the story about Tsutomu Yamaguchi, the doctor that was in both of the nuclear explosions? Mm-hmm. You want to talk about a shitty fucking day.
Oh, dude.
Riding his bicycle, or whatever it was, from town to town. First town, bomb explodes, and there's just fire, and he saw people with radiation poisoning, like the kind where you're throwing up your skin, and all kinds of, madness, and then he's like, well, yeah, like, hops on his bicycle to go over to another town, and he gets there, boom, another nuke.
Yeah. He was on vacation in Hiroshima. I think Hiroshima was the first one, right?
I think so.
He was on vacation in Hiroshima.
Oh, God.
Like on a business trip or some shit. And then, like, as soon as it happened, he immediately fled home to Nagasaki to get back to his family and everything. Because you gotta understand, the devastation that these bombs laid down was, okay. In a more broader perspective, most Americans would say the bombs being dropped ended the war. Most Americans would say that. Now, contemporary historians have been led to believe that it was part of it. It wasn't the whole thing. Because the thing is, the Japanese knew the Russians were knocking on the door. And they probably would have rather surrendered to the Americans than the Russians. Because the Russians weren't playing around.
Right. As they won't.
Plus, I'm also in the camp that believes that the bombs were dropped because we wanted we wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And two, we wanted to show the Russians that we had these capabilities.
Yeah, flashing the big stick that we carried.
Yeah, because at the time, by the end of the war, we weren't looking at, we knew we were going to beat the Germans. We knew we were going to beat the Japanese. It was a matter of time. Yeah. But what we know for sure is that Russia was still on beating the war drum hard all the way into the end of the war. And that spelled one thing for us, which meant it's time to we need to put up some real muscle here real quick.
And now we're the world's police.
Yeah.
Bringing democracy and freedom to fields of oil everywhere.
Exactly.
And lithium mines.
Resources.
Yeah. We're here to liberate you from your resources.
Exactly.
Free them.
Because, they can't do that on their own.
No, they're not. They're certainly not going to liberate themselves sitting in the ground. That money's not going to make itself.
As I say, you imagine, there's, some big fat cat, fucking sitting there smoking a cigar, imagine. He's like, fuck them. They don't know how to mine lithium. Only we know how to mine lithium.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll fuck it up.
Another thing that I think is a death nail in the whole nukes being fake conspiracy is the fact that it was 40 years after Tesla. And we all know Tesla had some shit.
Tesla was on the next level.
I've ordered a couple of his books off of Amazon. And thanks to ample reading time offered by places like Third Shift and other areas of life. He talked about some serious shit. And I know the one, everybody says all of his death ray and all this other stuff was him losing his mind. But this was all around the same time that he created that free energy system that blew up the Westinghouse power station. I don't think he lost his mind. I think he knew exactly what he was talking about. Yeah. Creating earthquakes, disintegrations, Manhattan Project, what have you.
He was, like I said, he was next level.
Yeah.
He had it's one of those situations where he had the mind so beautiful and he had the right mindset too. Where Edison is mind you, Edison did invent some shit. A lot of it was adaptations of other shit.
His thing was buying patents and throwing money at stuff.
That too. He tweaked inventions and made them more affordable, basically. More or less. So but Edison was always money driven. He was always what can make more money for me? And he was a dick, straight up.
Yeah. If drunk history is to be believed, he sought out competition and gave them menial jobs and then bought their patents for nothing.
Look at the fight of DC versus AC power.
Yeah.
He wanted to prove that AC power was way too dangerous, that it was gonna fucking burn cities down and all sorts of shit.
Look at this dog!
Yeah, he went on tours and he electrocuted animals. He electrocuted a fucking elephant to prove that alternating current was too powerful.
Right.
He created the fucking electric chair based on the premise that alternating current power was way too strong to be used by normal people. But he was wrong.
He was also the one that ended the era of using a good hemp rope.
Yeah.
Good hemp rope's time-tested and proven. It can be reused. It's cost-effective. And because of his hatred of AC, that's now what sits on top of everything.
Yeah.
Who needs free energy anyway?
Well, shit, we don't even use that anymore. We just use chemicals.
It's true.
Straight chemicals.
Lame.
Yeah. There's no zest in it anymore.
No.
I think the zest kind of started to fade, though, with, the guillotine was the zestiest.
Yeah.
That was the zestiest means of execution by far. I mean, it was quick, but goddamn if it wasn't bloody. I bet you blood just fucking shot everywhere.
If you were going to get guillotined, would you want to look at it?
Oh, fuck no.
I'd rather look at it.
I don't want to see that shit coming.
I
mean, you're going to hear it.
I think seeing it would be worse than not seeing it and hearing the motherfucker. At least then you know exactly when to piss your pants.
Yeah, that's true.
Let loose of those laurels.
I mean, at the end of the day, if I was to pick my means of execution, I don't know. I would want to say firing squad, but I'm afraid that I would get a bunch of fucking cross-eyed dicks.
The one guy that had the bullet shoots you in the dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to get shot in the dick.
Nah.
I want to get shot in the gut, really. If I'm getting shot in the gut, I better get shot in the heart at the same fucking time.
Yeah.
Or the head, for that matter.
Shortly thereafter, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of cutting instruments and death, we got a new question yesterday by a man who was referred to by other men as Hacksaw.
Hacksaw.
His question was, or topic I should say, was, how many people in your family do you think are secretly serial killers? I'm assuming that that's a broad question to everybody in the listening audience, both now and in the future.
Yeah.
But we can adapt it to our own lives.
I'm going to say, I feel like it's still low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's, I wouldn't put some crazy number like 7 out there.
Right.
But I would put I'd put a 1 with a greater than, equal to, less than sign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So possibility of 2, possibility of 0.
Over, under 4.
Over, under 4?
Maybe.
Fuck.
I like to think if we had like a complete access to like Ancestry.com, family tree, and you look at people, you're like, oh, that's weird. I had a great Uncle Jim, and all he liked to do was go on vacation for 2 weeks at a time, and came back and never had any stories.
Are we talking about whole families like back in the past and shit too?
I think it's open to interpretation.
Oh, because that changes. If you're opening up your whole family tree, that totally changes. I would say, I'd put mine up to 4 or 5, just because you gotta imagine back in the day, there were dudes who just killed hobos for fun.
I mean, that and it's a cleanliness issue.
Back in the day, 100 years ago or so. Let's take it back even further. Let's say 120 years ago. Yeah. You're out with your friends, out at the tavern, getting drinks, getting a little drunk.
Yeah. And
then you get a wild hair and you're like, all right.
I'm going to kill a hobo.
Yeah, let's go out to the train yard. Yeah. Let's find ourselves a hobo.
Hey, what are you doing down there, sleeping?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, you want some liquor?
Yeah.
You want some beans?
This is gasoline. Homeless man burned down at the dockyard.
I mean, we're talking about times when motherfuckers like Jack the Ripper and H.H. Holmes were able to fucking just run rampant. H.H. Holmes just straight up murdered probably over 100 people, and he did it just he had at one point just a hotel with a secret room that he would just dump people in, travelers.
Yeah,
people or women without their families around or anything like that. A much different time. Plus, I think there was more outlets for serial killers back then.
Yeah.
I mean, straight, war, don't get me wrong, war's still war. But back then, you were once you shot your round, more than likely you're going to be bayoneting at least 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is what it is.
Plus, I mean, like I said, there was more outlets. So, back then, even if there wasn't an actual war going on, in America, you could at least just go out into the Great Plains and, commit some of that.
Find you some of that genocide.
Find you some of that genocide and make money doing it. That's the fucked up part.
It is. I don't think it exists as much anymore. I mean, I'm personally excited about my vacation coming up in 2 weeks. I won't talk about it, though. I'm just going to California with cash. No identification. I'll be back. It's mostly just a meditative thing. Go out there to find myself. Maybe find the insides of other people.
I mean, who's to say... In a way, I feel I'm not saying that serial killers, they serve a greater good, but I feel they do serve to allow us to be vigilant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying the victims deserved what they got, but it's an exercise in vigilance.
Right.
They make us be vigilant of the people, and at least have some underlying level of suspicion about our fellow man.
Well, I don't know if it happens so much here in the United States, but if you go on the deep web, have you ever traveled on there?
No, I've never ventured down that road before. I thought about it, but
anybody that gets a deep dark hair up their ass can download the Tor browser. Stands for, TOR, the Onion Republic. And they've got hitmen for hire. They've got all kinds of crazy shit. I mean, the deep web is a completely anonymous libertarian society. You've got good things and you've got the worst of the worst. Mm-hmm. But, like, there was a thing I saw in there before of a research facility in, like, fucking Bosnia. Somewhere where none of us know anything about. And you would pay them, depending on whatever you wanted researched, it was a different price. And you pay in Bitcoin, which is completely anonymous. Yeah. But, like, their fucking disclaimer, or their advert, was like, would you like to find out the effects of lead on pregnant women? God damn. Like, these people are able to, like, I'm assuming that it's like a hostel type thing. Like, where
Sounds like it.
They're, like, hooking people up in England and all these other places and just bagging them and taking them to fucking Bosnia. Yeah. And then some douchebag in Indiana is like, I would like to know. Next thing you know, fucking pregnant Jane is getting injected or fed lead.
Yeah. Slowly, I imagine.
Hostel's a real place.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That's terrifying.
I mean, think about it. There's things that we can't comprehend as just being our peon selves. Like, we don't... There's things that are beyond our means when it comes to monetary gain. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
that's the funny thing about humans. Because we wouldn't accept certain activity, we have to believe it doesn't exist. Yeah. Or it only exists in movies and shit.
Exactly.
That shit's going on.
Oh, yeah. You thinking about it. Now you're thinking about it. Yeah. There's shit like... viruses. You see these fucking celebrities, they go on vacations in far-flung places, and it just... you think they go because it looks nice.
Yeah, you think the president spends $800 million on vacation because of a security detail? No.
No.
Nope.
There was a high stakes baby knife fight that he had to get to.
Yeah. Those infants aren't going to knife attack themselves. God.
Like, you imagine, think how exclusive the adverts for that thing is. Right. You imagine, like, Secret Service goes, Mr. President, we have a letter from you. It's not addressed to you from some crazy-ass guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I will, need to clear my next 2-week schedule.
Clear the room.
Yeah.
It's a fucking tablet with just one video on it. It just shows the babies. Next Saturday.
Bring the family.
We got Bowie knives. We got machetes.
We got Billy the baby strangler. Yeah. He's coming in the corner of some baby that looks like he's seen way too many things, and he's adeptly smoking a cigarette. Like he's done it for years.
Got a fucking stiletto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, things beyond our ability to reason. You know what I mean?
That's why, like, a part of me would really like to travel abroad. But I'd never feel comfortable going to a country where I couldn't be strapped like a American.
Exactly. See, that's the thing. Like,
I'm not going to wake up in some fucking basement strapped to a wall.
Because, like, I mean, unless you want to get your fucking knife game on point, a lot of places, especially in Western Europe, I think Western Europe you might be a little bit safe. If you start traveling down that road to Eastern Europe, the American equivalent of traveling into, like, the deep south, and I'm not talking about, like, well-walked places. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the places where the roads are just dirt. Well, the people like their women as cousins.
Yeah.
Kind of shit.
Family is the most important thing.
You go to Eastern Europe, and that whole place is, like, basically like that. Yeah. It's the south of Europe. So, it's one of those things where, like, it's just like here. If you want to see some crazy shit, like a fucking cockfight or a dog fight, the chances of seeing those things exponentially grow the further south you go.
Yeah. I mean,
it's that simple. I mean, up until, like, a couple years ago, cockfighting was still legal in Louisiana.
Right. That's fine.
So you go to a legal cockfight.
Oh, birds strapped up with razor blades, ready to kick the dog shit out of something else.
Yeah, just slicing each other up.
Man, we're funny animals.
Yeah, I think we just get bored. I think that's half the problem. It's boredom that's wrecked us now.
Boredom and safety.
Yeah,
too long of both.
I mean, what the hell I get back in the day, like before television, before like other means of like entertainment.
Yeah,
what the fuck are you supposed to do? Well, we got these roosters.
What are we gonna do with all these razor blades?
We got all this spiky metal.
Yeah.
We got these roosters who ain't doing shit for us right now.
All they do is walk around and kick stuff.
Yeah. They try to fight each other anyways. Fuck it.
What if we mix them?
Let's see what happens.
Cocks and blades. Mm-hmm. Cock blades.
Cock blades.
Yes.
I mean, fuck. We did the same thing with bulls.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not even sure that I've never been on a plane. All my traveling has strictly been done by car. I'm not sure that I'm mentally well-rounded enough to fly in a fucking plane, because you saw that guy that got his shtick was that he would go on planes and count backwards in Arabic and just record the results. Well, he got arrested the other day.
Jesus.
And I'm here to tell you that if I worked up the courage to get on a fucking plane to fly somewhere in the United States, some fucking anybody starts counting backwards on a plane, I'm going to get arrested for murder when I snap his neck.
Yeah.
And it's all like a fucking YouTube video. Like, everybody's laughing, and I stand up, and the next thing I know, I'm in prison for the rest of my life.
I'm not the biggest fan of planes. I made my first adult plane ride last year.
Yeah.
And it was only a 2.5 hour flight. I'm just not. It takes all the control away from you.
Yeah,
you're putting your faith into somebody else. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying our pilots aren't well trained individuals.
Right.
But I don't care how professional or how well trained you are. I'm always going to be uneasy if I'm putting my life in your hands.
Have you seen the movie Flight? Denzel Washington?
No, I never saw that one.
I mean, thank God he was an ace pilot, but basically he spent his entire off time doing nothing but getting liquored up, screwing the flight staff, and zooting cocaine. And smoking joints. So basically, he showed up one day, fly a plane. He's drunk from the night before, and he's like, how am I going to handle this? You know, can't fly with a hangover. So he gets 2 bottles or 3 bottles of vodka from the flight deck, you know. Yeah. He shoots it into an orange juice. Then he's like, maybe I'm too drunk. So he zoots some coke. And then he flies the plane. He saved everybody. I mean, some people died, but if he hadn't been flying the plane, everybody would have been dead. Yeah. But I'm just here to tell you that, you know, Dave from Milwaukee that flies the plane from, you know, Dayton International Airport, where I'm going to fly out of, to wherever the fuck, he's probably doing the same thing, and he's not a skilled pilot. They're going to blame it on some sort of equipment failure.
Because, last thing they want is to get in that black box. Boop.
Sneezing cocaine all over the controls.
You got some pretzels? Yeah. I need some pretzels.
Pretzels!
I got wet mouth like a motherfucker. Yeah. I'm gonna throw up. Give me some pretzels.
I'd rather, you know, take my chances on the interstate. Where, I mean, occasionally you do have the guy that decides to kill himself by covering his body in gasoline and driving onto the off ramp. But I'm pretty good at swerving, you know.
I mean, like I said, okay, it wasn't all bad. It's like I said, it was my first flight. Like, apparently I was in a plane as a baby, so I don't remember that shit. But it was my first adult flight, and the way there, I was by myself. And unfortunately, I was seated in the emergency row. So not only was it my first flight, but it was my first flight, and I had to give detailed instructions on how I'm the one that has to, if there's a fiery explosion on one side of the plane, I might be the one that has to open up the emergency door.
Oh, God.
On the other side of the plane.
You probably sat next to a fucking virulent pedophile, too. Think you felt your short pants?
Man, I just
can't handle it.
I can't, like, it was alright. It was just, I think I had a bad experience because since it was in the emergency row, I was right next to the wing on the one side, and the engine, of course. And it was just, I think sitting right that close to the wing and the engine makes for a little bit more of a bumpy experience, a little bit more you feel everything. Yeah. Kind of experience.
Yeah. Several I'm Gonna Die episodes play in your mind.
Well, yeah, and then like we were getting into Philadelphia, and we were experiencing turbulence because of the weather, so that's fun.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, bouncing up and down, like kind of like it's like a heavy vibration as you're coming in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's all right. I'd do it again because it's not that bad, and chances of your plane crashing are fairly slim for the most part, unless you fly like, what's that one airline? Is it Malaysian Airlines? Yeah. Dude, they had like 3 crashes last year. I'm straight.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
It's so much cheaper though.
Yeah, right. God, the deals. The deals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm good on them, but I'd still fly in America probably, just not frequently. I'm strung like a violin, so yeah. I don't think I could do it all the time.
Unless they allow you to carry firearms in your carry-on, I'm cool. I'm not big on ever putting myself in a scenario where I'm not armed in some way.
Yeah, except with fists.
Yeah. Cold Steel makes a sweet comb. Yeah, I don't know what they called it, but they should have called it the terrorist stabber. Because basically it looks like a cheap plastic comb, but it's that high density plastic.
Oh, okay.
You unscrew the comb itself and it comes down to a fucking spike. Try and Allah Akbar my ass. I've got something for your jugular vein.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Cat.
I mean, it's just the world we live in now.
It is. I'd rather sit here and bitch about the weather.
Yeah, I like home.
I like life too, and I prefer my blood stay on the inside.
Yeah. But anyways.
Next story about random, possible acts of worldwide violence. Our president for the next 16 days decided that he should send United States Special Forces to the Russian border because Putin is allegedly deploying nuclear-ready weapons on the border with Lithuania. a.k.a. none of our fucking business.
Yeah.
But whatever.
It's within their country. I mean, but I'm not going to back up Russia 100% on this, but at the same time, like, why do we have to meet their aggression?
We don't.
We don't have to.
Think about it in a neighborhood-wide scenario. Your fucking crazy neighbor Dave is fucking with your other, neighbor that lives down the street that you never see.
Yeah.
Doesn't really bring anything to your Thanksgiving table. It's none of your business.
Yeah.
If you see Dave looking at you in a fucking bathrobe with a heart on, maybe you should get ready for Dave. But until then, leave Dave alone.
Yeah. Dave's got his own thing going on.
You're over there, like, he's got checks coming in the mail, and you're over there sifting through, taking some of his checks because you decided to put sanctions on him because you didn't like the way he talked to Phyllis. Shut the fuck up with that. Take it somewhere else. Because basically, we're the kids in the house, and that motherfucker's coming over and, like, flashing his dick to us in the window.
Yeah.
We had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Leave us alone.
I mean, it's troublesome, and then, you got the media. They keep putting in the Cold War level amount of animosity going on between our two nations.
Yeah.
And the funny part is I feel like it's just between the figureheads of our nations. It's not the actual peoples.
I like to think that they could just send the world leaders, maybe they're like them and their squad, they could get their squad together, and they could put them in a room and lock it with weapons and just let them fucking go.
Yeah. Single combat.
Yeah.
I'd totally watch that.
It's none of my fucking business, man.
You could pay-per-view that shit.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I'd probably pay to watch it, or at least I'd steal it off the internet once it was
You think
broadcast.
they should just be edge weapons?
I think it could be based on what the free market dictates. What if we find out that people like, blunt weapons?
I was going to say, like...
Time tested.
You got to be creative with this shit. You just do, like... I always thought an interesting, like, scenario would just be, like, 4 inches of water.
Yeah. I like it.
Or, like, just a pool cue.
Yeah.
See where that goes.
Exactly. I'm here to tell you, I don't think that this guy we've got in the White House right now, any of the presidents in our lifetime would ever stand up in a bar fight. Maybe W. I mean, W was... remember that when he choked on a pretzel, they said?
Oh, yeah.
He was drunk as shit.
Oh, yeah, he's drunk.
Calling his wife a cunt and everything.
Probably blowing large sums of coke.
Laura, you're a cunt.
Yeah, he hit his head on the coffee table after he took a fucking...
After his wife slapped the shit out of him because he tried to cut her with a butter knife.
Either that or he took 8 balls of the dome.
Yeah. I said, goddamn.
I mean, I would say W could win in a bar fight if he was old W back when he was blowing coke and being crazy as shit.
Yeah.
I'd take him any day on my side.
I'll tell you who else I bet could fight. The Dixie Mafia, fucking Clinton in his prime.
In his prime.
Yeah.
I bet you could.
I saw a picture that they leaked of him. Did you see that? It was on WikiLeaks about 2 months ago. This dude's like an old man sitting on the end of a hotel bed with some porn star getting ready to do whatever it is they do. And he's only in boxer shorts. Man.
What the fuck?
Yeah. He's definitely a shadow of his former self.
Yeah.
He's got shit science can't cure. I'm sure of it.
Only president to be treated for syphilis in office.
And talk to me.
But, I mean, I don't know. I guess, like, if we're talking historically, like, all presidents, which ones you would prefer in a bar fight?
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson, he'd be vicious.
He's number one.
Dude, he'd probably, like, he wouldn't even fuck around. Like, you would start just arguing, and he would roll up with a fucking flintlock and just cap him right in the neck. He wouldn't shoot him in the head, in the neck, because he wants to watch him die.
Watch the lifeblood leak into the ground.
Yeah.
Refreshing that tree of liberty, motherfucker.
Drops the fucking flintlock on the ground and just walks out.
Yeah, drop the mic.
Done.
Yeah.
I'd say him, Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt's awesome.
I think he'd be more fair about it than Andrew Jackson. I think he would actually, like, want a real fisticuffs, fight. So.
Did you ever read about him?
Oh, yeah. He's a boss.
I listened to the History on Fire, Daniele Bolelli.
Yeah.
It's awesome because no matter how long Daniele Bolelli lives in the United States, he will never lose his thick Italian accent. So, he's a history professor out in California somewhere, and he does these Dan Carlin-esque history podcasts. He did an awesome one on Teddy Roosevelt, talking about how weak he was as a kid, and like back in the day. And I've heard this before from my grandma. My great uncle had asthma. He grew up in coal country, and the doctors would prescribe them menthol cigarettes as a treatment for asthma. Teddy Roosevelt, they said, like, oh, well, the boy's lungs are weak. We prescribe him cigars. Fuck me. I've got pretty strong lungs. I can't even smoke a cigar.
Exactly. Then he used to he found out he was weak, so what did he do? Fucking worked out.
Took out boxing and fucking weightlifting.
Yeah.
He willed himself past his weak outer physical shell Boss.
Got bored of being a fucking desk jockey, formed his own fucking militia.
Yeah.
Of the fucking... You know, like, why hasn't that been made into a fucking movie? Him going around the country and finding the roughest motherfuckers available to join his fucking Rough Riders. Like, he was going around and he was finding fucking... It didn't matter if you were a fucking sheriff or a cowhand or anything. He was just finding the baddest, meanest motherfuckers you could find and bringing them all together.
Old school Fight Club.
Yeah, and fucking getting them together, and he's like, we're gonna fucking win.
I'm really saddened about the fact that, we don't have that era anymore. Even down on the local level, back in the day, sheriffs would come around and gather up a posse.
Oh, yeah.
I would love a fucking 3 o'clock knock on my door like, we need you to follow us.
Yeah.
We got one.
Somebody escaped from the Green Roof Inn.
Guess who's calling in sick tomorrow? Because I'm about ready to go get some black blood, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that was some old school shit. Or the fact that he got shot, during a speech.
Yeah.
And then finished the speech.
Hardcore.
And then at the end of the speech told everyone he got shot. And then just carried on with his business.
That guy shoots like a pussy, though. Continuing on.
Yeah.
We've gone from electing heroes and fucking badasses to electing fucking lawyers.
Yeah, that's where we went wrong.
I mean,
we've been electing lawyers since virtually the beginning.
Yeah.
But you gotta give passes to some of those dudes. I mean, John Adams was a lawyer.
Yeah.
But he was a badass too, man.
Right. Well, yeah. But now I'm talking like the slick shyster type dudes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The used car salesman mentality of just screwing everybody.
Selling us ideas.
Yeah. Kill yourself.
Exactly.
Hopefully this is, I'm sure people are tired of talking about it. I'm tired of talking about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Hopefully Trump is the end of that era for now.
Yeah. I mean, he may have a lot of flaws, but, he may just be that kind of go-get-'em attitude that you need.
I think he would have a sweet legacy just in itself if he could bring Michigan back from the shithole break that it's on.
I mean,
did with that Ford plant deal. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah. You knew Teddy Roosevelt was going to he'd fight a bear no matter what.
Yeah.
And I bet you Trump would fight a bear.
Oh, yeah.
And Trump would probably lose, but that's not the point.
Well, especially if he had the ability to make money off a fight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only say one thing about Trump for sure, and that's that he is a staunch capitalist.
Oh, most definitely.
He's going to make that more.
We sometimes dabble in the arts of affecting consciousness via alcohol and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Throughout our lives, tried different things. This guy's never touched any of that.
Yeah.
He's completely sober. His addiction is money.
Yeah.
Something to be said about that.
Yeah. And I can see why it'd be an addiction.
Money and foreign wives.
That and upping his dad.
Yeah.
That man has spent his entire life trying to one-up his father.
Did you see that documentary on his dad? We were talking about his dad. I thought you were the one that told me about this.
I'd read an article about this guy who was he was doing a biography of Trump's dad back in the day.
Yeah.
And let's just say the relationship between father and son wasn't all that good because he followed his dad to Coney Island where he was with his mistress. And he was 2 tables over listening to the conversation that he was having with his mistress. And he mentioned something about, he's like, Donald's coming home today from wherever. He's like, maybe he'll die in a plane crash. And starts laughing. Daddy never loved me.
Exactly.
But no, we'll see. I feel like the last real president we had, people would argue and say Reagan was, but I think Reagan was just good at what he did. You know what I mean? He was an actor.
Yeah.
He's good at portraying an image. I'd say JFK was probably the realest one we had.
He was so real his head exploded.
Yeah.
Fucking with somebody's paycheck somewhere.
Yeah. He was a war hero too. PT 109.
Yeah, it takes a certain level of testicles to lie your way into the military. Because he got denied, from what I read.
He was sick. He had some illness.
Some of that,
with his spine.
Some of that fucking Teddy Roosevelt blood in him.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But even FDR to an extent was a bit of a boss.
Yeah.
He was crippled, but he could still he portrayed himself as somebody that wasn't.
He had that hand of old man strength. I'm sure he would grab an aide from time to time, snatch him up.
Oh, yeah. I heard LBJ. LBJ has some of those qualities that I can appreciate. Other than the fact that, supposedly he had a monster dong.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't afraid to show people his his big dick.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if he called it Dumbo or Jumbo. But apparently one time, during a press conference, not during a press conference, he was, walking through the White House, and he had a couple members of the press behind him asking him questions. And they're like, how do you plan to turned the tide in the Vietnam War.
Look at my dick.
Yeah, he turns around, whips his dick out, and he's like, this is how. Yeah. This is how we're going to do it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, then.
I nicknamed him the Homewrecker.
I mean, it's outside the realm of possibility. That might be just an apocryphal story, but I did hear that he wasn't afraid of showing people his dick because apparently it was huge.
I prefer to believe that as a true story.
Yeah. Also, that he there was this thing that he did. I saw because I read this big thing about him once, and he was a very intimidating man. Like, if he wanted something done, and this goes back to like when he was in Congress and shit, he would like get up right in your face. I'm talking nose to nose. And he was taller, too, so he'd be usually taller than you, and get right down your face and do this really slow talk to you, like he was just about to beat your ass. Yeah. And some say he even promised, if you don't vote on, say yes on this, I'm going to beat the fuck out of you.
Nice. That's not crazy at all.
Yeah. I mean, and there's even a picture of him doing that little intimidating move, too. Like, he's talking to a dude, and he is towering over him, fucking nose to nose, fucking staring him down.
Sliding his brass knuckles on from his right pocket.
Yeah. I mean, probably so close the dude can at least feel the aura of his bulge.
Smell his fucking BO because he uses it as a tactic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he didn't shower.
No. You're gonna smell me.
Yeah.
Some of that smells this giant cock right here. My dick's in your nose.
You heard it slide in his pants like a fucking anaconda.
Yeah, he just dropped 4 rolls of quarters down his pant leg.
sounds like a snake rustling through leaves.
Yeah, exactly. Going after a fucking shrew.
He just says real quiet, "Did you hear that?"
Yeah.
You know what that was.
He's standing at least 3 feet over their knee because they're sitting down and it drops on their fucking leg.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he was what he was. But I'd say JFK was probably our last real one. And before then, I mean, Eisenhower was cool. Eisenhower was cool to the extent where, like, I was reading something the other day where, like, because Trump's talked about how Patton is one of his heroes. And people are basically like, well, I mean, Patton was a good war general, but he wasn't good at peacetime. Mm. Like, he couldn't cope with that shit. Like, he was good at winning battles.
Just wanted to push it all the time to something he was good at.
I mean, Patton was so goddamn extreme that Eisenhower consistently had to come down to wherever Patton was and chill him the fuck out. And be like, calm the fuck down.
Manage your memories.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, calm your fucking tits, Patton.
Yeah.
We got this shit.
Put those nipples on ice, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it was true. Patton was good at winning wars. But he was in that McCarthy mentality when Patton wanted to keep pushing. Because he thought, well, this war's not over until Russia's defeated, too. But Eisenhower's like, chill the fuck out, dude.
What's wrong with you?
Fuck, dude. Takes a fucking
Are you fucking drinking? It's 9 in the morning.
Of course,
wrong with you?
Of course, they're in Italy, so there's large amounts of coke around.
Yeah.
So, Dwight takes a little...
You got to.
Chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because the problem was, I think Patton was just doing too much coke.
That was the era of, like, cocaine being the accepted, white party drug.
Yeah.
It was just... That was a long part of our history.
Take a little...
How many decisions did that change?
Right.
For the erratic.
I mean, like, people used to keep a little chest.
Yeah.
Just some blow in it. I mean,
crazy.
That's how you start your day. So a cup of coffee, a cigarette, and a little
Yeah.
Everything's so green now.
Yeah.
That's the old era.
I gotta pull this in. I gotta prepare for the travels to pay the tax man.
Well, thank you guys for listening to another episode of Bones and Tubs. We like hearing from you. Send us some topics. The topics basket is nearly empty now, so we need some more topics.
We need to refill it. We still have failed DB Hunter by not talking about Operation
No,
Gladio.
but I think that's going to be our next big topic episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that next time. But yeah, thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe. Get it out to your friends. We want more people listening to our show. If you really like our show and you listen to it consistently, get some more people on. There's a couple people already that have done the legwork on this, and we appreciate you, Hacksaw.
Very much.
Yeah. I mean, you got traditions when you listen to this show. That's great. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. This is our first episode of 2017. Certainly will not be our last.
No.
And like I said, send us topics, and we hope to hear from you. Hope you listen next time.
We love you.
We really do.